Hello everyone, and thank you so much for joining me today. We are doing a one brand Colourpop tutorial. I'm so excited to show you what I can do with all these products that I love so much from a brand that just very rarely ever lets me down. Some of these products are not going to be Colourpop products because I don't have any alternatives for them. So I did prime my eyelids with the Too Faced Shadow Insurance Primer, and I am setting that using a big fluffy brush using the Mercier translucent setting powder. Now I'm going into the Dream Street Kathleen Lights palette. I love this palette. I love her. This palette is just amazing. It's so versatile. So I'm going into the shade Shooting Star. It's a very close match to my skin tone, and I am just very slowly building that up into my crease. As you guys know, I really like doing this step. It provides a really great base for a gradient look that starts light in the crease and, kind of gets darker towards the bottom. And it does take a while for this shade to really show up on my eyes, and I'm not really sure how well it's going to show up for you guys on camera. But I do take a significant amount of time to just build this up. Then I am going into the shade Potion, which is a beautiful dusty red brick color. And I am starting it out in the outer corner and then spreading it to the crease just below the shade Shooting Star. I always start in the outer corner and then bring it into the crease. To me, that's a great way to blend instead of just kind of going all over the crease at first. That just kind of makes it look a little bit muddy. And I am definitely planning on filming something kind of like a more in-depth tutorial on how to create a beautiful eye look with the terminology, knowing what the crease is, when to go into the crease, when to go into the outer corner, all of that. So then I took the shade Spark, which is a bright pinkish red color. And again, I started out in the inner corner and then I bring it up into the crease just below the dark brick red color. And there, I'm obviously very excited about how pigmented it is. The quality of Colourpop shadows is very, very, very good for the price. I would say it definitely rivals some high-end eyeshadows for sure. There I go, just kind of starting in the outer corner like I said and blending it up into the crease and just blending repeatedly. It is a lengthy process, but it definitely makes the eye look more seamless. Then I take Shooting Star and just kind of blend out the edges, just so it doesn't look super harsh. Then I'm going into this beautiful bronze copper shade called Stardust. It's super shimmery and reflective. And I am starting that out on the center of my lid and just kind of bringing it towards the inner corner. And you'll see me doing kind of a carving motion with that brush. I am not really doing a cut crease where the carving, like you can really, really see it, but I am sort of doing it. It provides a good guideline, like the lid area provides a good guideline for where I'm supposed to put this shadow. I just love that shade. So beautiful. Then I am going into the darkest shade in the palette. It is called Elfish. It is a beautiful warm brown with a hint of purple, and I am just focusing this on the outer corner. So you'll see I'm just kind of placing it there and then sweeping it outwards to make the eye shape look a little bit more elongated. And I always like to put a darkest shade in the outer corner to provide what YouTubers tend to call dimension to the eye look. It definitely adds a really, really nice little shadow there, and it just enhances the effect of that gradient look by making the darkest shade even darker. Then I'm going into this beautiful liquid eyeshadow called, I think it's their Supernova shadow in the shade Runnin' in Orbits, and I am just mimicking the placement of that shimmer shade, doing that little carving motion right there. This is so beautiful. It is so pigmented. It's so easy to blend up with your finger. It lasts all day. It doesn't get crusty. It doesn't transfer. It's just such an incredible, amazing liquid eyeshadow formula. I just never thought I would like liquid eyeshadow. I just thought, it's out of my comfort zone. It's not really something I like at all. But this one is super user-friendly and it lasts such a long time. So definitely highly recommend this product as well. Then I'm taking a brush with no additional product on it and just blending out those edges so that the Supernova shadow doesn't look too harsh. Then I'm taking a makeup wipe and removing the fallout from underneath my eyes and also defining that kind of winged look, which provides an awesome template for the winged eyeliner I'm going to do here in a little bit. I am taking the Dr. Brandt Luminizing Primer and just putting that on my cheeks. It adds a beautiful luminosity to the skin, just kind of enhances your skin's natural glow, and also does have some long-lasting properties to it as well. Although it's not the most long-lasting primer I've ever used, I just like the soft glow effect it gives to my skin. Then I am going in with the Colourpop No Filter Concealers. So Colourpop does not have a foundation in its line, but these concealers are awesome for using as foundation. So the shade that I'm currently putting all over my face right now, just kind of dotting everywhere, is in the shade Dark 42. And as you know, they expanded their 15 shade lines to 30 shades, and if you didn't know that, I'm telling you that now, and they kind of renamed everything. So this I picked up after the new launch, and it wasn't previously named Dark 42. I'm not even sure if this shade was in the original line, but I love it. It totally matches my skin tone really, really well. It has a beautiful, like, lifelike matte finish. It's not lifeless and flat. It has kind of like a satin matte finish. It blends out super easily. It's long lasting, medium to full coverage, just, you know, all of the great qualities I look for in a concealer. Then I go in with the shade Tan 50, which is kind of confusing. It's actually based on the old shade naming system that they had. It is renamed, and I will have the new name for it down in the description box. But this shade I'm using to highlight and conceal under the eyes, on the nose, on the forehead, and on the chin. And I will say that, you know, this concealer isn't perfect. It definitely creases underneath my eyes, but so does everything else. So I've kind of learned to not make that like a make or break factor in a concealer, since pretty much everything creases under my eyes. I have just huge folds underneath my eyes where product just gets stuck there. Then I am using that same Laura Mercier translucent setting powder with the same fluffy brush, setting the concealer under my eyes and then using it to set the rest of my face. And I'm sure you've heard the hype about this powder. It's amazing. It's, you know, completely translucent, doesn't have any flashback. It's so soft and finely milled. I will say that the Maybelline Fit Me powder from the drugstore does rival it, but for a high-end option, Laura Mercier is amazing. I don't have a Colourpop contour shade, so I am using my trusty Sleek makeup palette. I'm using that dark matte shade to define the cheekbones in my jawbone. And you guys know that I'm not super focused on contouring. It's something that I learned about pretty recently, and, you know, I've never felt a huge need to define the bone structure on my face, but I know people like to see it, and I mean, I do admit that I like how it looks on my face as well. And there, I'm obviously super shocked at how heavy-handed I went. So it just, you know, takes some extra time right there. You just gotta blend it all out and just, you know, be patient when these types of things happen. And then I forgot to film the part where I put my blush and my highlight. I used the Gimme More Pressed Powder Highlighter Palette from Colourpop and used the bottom middle shade called Bigger and Better. And the blush is a pressed powder blush in Weirdough, which I'm sure you guys have seen in my videos before. I love that blush. Then I'm going back into the Dream Street palette and using the shade Potion and Elfish to define the lower lash line and give it some depth. I add on to that depth by using the cream gel liner from Colourpop in the shade Swerve. It is their black shade, and I'm using that to line the upper and lower waterline. You guys know that I have to line the upper waterline because I don't have that many eyelashes, and it mimics the effect of a lash line. Then I'm going in with my NYX liquid liner. I forgot which kind this is. It's a felt tip and it's teeny tiny, like really small. I honestly think it's called Hella Small, but I will have the official name for it in the description box below. And I'm using that to carefully create a winged liner. It does take some time, it always does. And there you can see I have the wings completed on both of my eyes. I'm going in with my Butter London Double Decker Mascara. This is just an incredible mascara. I love it so much. Colourpop doesn't have one out quite yet, but I'm using this to enhance my little baby lashes that I'm sure you can barely see on camera, but I just love this mascara. It really helps out with my little teeny lashes. Then I'm going in with the Colourpop Luxe Lipstick in the shade On Repeat. It's a beautiful bright red with a hint of coral. And I could not rave enough about this lipstick formula. The Luxe Lips are luxurious feeling. The formula itself is so creamy, so opaque. It's definitely on the satin side, but it's long lasting even though it transfers. I mean, just the color payoff is incredible. I was definitely skeptical about this product when it first launched because, you know, they already have bullet lipsticks, but I've definitely jumped on the bandwagon. I love this formula, and this shade is just so gorgeous. I thought it would go really well with this look. Lastly, I am putting on my headscarf, and I decided to include this because this is a very integral part of my routine every single day. I wear a headscarf every day, and I do have a video planned where I go in depth on how to tie my headscarves, and I'll show you an angle from the back so you can actually see what my hands are doing. I love the scarf. It's so bright. It has every single one of my favorite colors on it. That bright blue, that mustard, the green, the pink, and if you know me, you know that floral is just my favorite pattern of all time. So this scarf pretty much just describes my personality right there. And there you have it. There is the final look. I think it turned out really, really nice. I hope you liked it too. And I just want to thank you guys so much for joining me today. It means a lot. I hope you learned something. I hope you got hyped about Colourpop like I did. Thanks, and I'll see you later.